Hello, everyone. This is the Outlander After Show, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
There we go. Just sway with it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Outlander After Show on AFTERBUZZ TV. This is Season 3, Episode 11, Uncharted. I'm Adrian Snow. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow, and these are my fellow co-hosts.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tiona Hobson, and you can find me at the Tiona Hobson.
Hey everyone, I'm Rachel Goodman. You can find me at Rach Goodman on either Instagram or Twitter, or at Rachel Ann Goodman on Facebook.
Nice. All right. So, first thoughts on this episode. Uh-oh.
Pregnant pause there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of, the whole survival beginning with Claire was pretty fascinating, actually.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't sure when I saw the preview for last week. I wasn't sure how interesting that was actually going to be. But yeah, I generally really liked the episode and what they did with it.
Yeah, I agree. I liked it. I wanted some other things to move faster.
Yeah.
But I did like this episode.
I feel the same. I liked it, but I also was kind of ready to get moving.
It's not in my top 5.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy, like, the banter with the priest and everything, but I also, and we were talking about this, if they hadn't gotten back together this episode, I was going to walk in super fast. I was going to be really angry and just like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I've watched 7 episodes of them not together, and I'm fed up. Probably more than that. Probably like 8.
The season was all about, hey, I'm getting them back together after being apart for 20 years, and we spent more time apart than together. So it's just for people who have not read the books, like me and us, who don't know when, what's coming next. It's frustrating because all I keep imagining is, hey, she came all this way to get back to him, and now they keep getting torn apart from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of like, it's been 20 years. Let's just leave Jamie alone. Like, stop going after Jamie, okay? Maybe Jamie stopped doing illegal stuff. Yeah, sure, fine. But, like, stop trying to arrest this man all the time. It's really just exhausting, because that's usually when they end up getting split apart, is when he's, like, done something illegal and dumb. Were you going to say something?
Just that we have a couple comments from the chat, and just to give people shout outs. So Kelsey Henora says, such a great episode. We also have Laura Piney, Hubby Joe, and Mr. Ooh, Eric Jackson, Elizabeth Brown, all in chat.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, guys.
In the chat room. All right, so let's start off with just, we see Claire in the middle of the ocean.
Drifting.
Just drifting. But she does end up on land. Thankfully, I can't think of the woman's name. The old German?
Annika?
Annika. Woman wasn't completely off in that the tide would get her to some land.
Eventually, one day.
It just wasn't the land that she should have been on. So she rolls onto the shore. Unfortunately, I think if it were anyone else, they would have been dead within the day.
I raised my hand. I would have been that dead person.
I wouldn't have jumped in the first place.
I would have. I don't know, man. Jumping on sharks. That's all I would have thought about.
Especially
sharks.
at night and you can't see anything. That's just asking for trouble.
And I was just wondering too, not even just is she gonna find land, but what fish is in that water that is gonna maybe see her as a threat or I
don't know. I don't really like. I can swim, but I just don't really like, the ocean when there's no land nearby.
Yeah.
And so she jumps though, and she does finally get to land, and we get to see her kind of go through the island and figure out what to do. And she talks about the rule of 3 and how you can go 3 minutes without, which I didn't know. Some of these rules of 3, that you can go 3 minutes without oxygen. You can go 3 minits, or no, 3 days without water, and then 3 weeks without food.
Yeah.
Which is good to know as a survival tip. That's a hard one to say right now.
Survival chips?
Yeah.
Survival
tip
Survival tip.
That's what I don't know why I could not say that right now.
Nah, it's all good.
It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like the turkey stuffing still
got
in
the
my
itis.
brain. No, but that's a good survival tip for everyone to have and to know.
Yeah.
I would never try to go 3 days without water or food, but sure. Okay.
It's interesting too because unfortunately the only water surrounding her was salt water and she couldn't drink that, so.
No, I guess you could drink. Well, you're not supposed to drink your own urine anymore. Isn't that the thing? Like,
I think that's a myth. I think
that's
so.
a myth now?
I thought so.
Oh.
And then she found the coconuts, but unfortunately...
I was like, shake that tree.
You better get to climbing.
Shake it. Obviously, they don't move as easily as they do in cartoons. So she wouldn't have been successful. But yeah, we get to kind of see her go through this whole ordeal. And I don't know. I'm sure we talked about when you were done, but the ants. When the ants.
Oh.
And then also, before we get to that, can we talk about how in fictional survival modes, you can always find flint, but I've never come upon flint going camping or anything in my life. So what's the deal with that?
Can I be the person to ask what flint is?
Flint is the stone that you use. You get a rock, and that's how you make the
I didn't know it had a name.
Flint
I thought
stone.
You just rubbed 2 rocks together. See, I would die out there.
And see, I thought it was just 2 rocks she found too.
No.
And I was like, wow, that has never worked for me.
Yeah, you can only do it. You can only do it with flint, because flint has like the igniting qualities to get the fire going.
Even then, she really struggled. So
yeah. I mean, without her butt bonnet, is that what it's called, or bonnet, whatever? She would have definitely not had fire. But
the ants were disturbing.
That's sad.
Because when I'm in nature, which is rare, I always am aware of my surroundings, and I know that she's tired and hot and delusional, and so you don't see that you're actually setting up camp on a mountain, an anthill. But to wake up to that would have been for me. But then to wake up with that snake coming across my chest, Tiona dead.
Yeah.
Right then and there, it would have just been, I would have shat my pants, literally. I would have jumped, it would have attacked, it would have been a whole thing.
Well, that was a boa constrictor, so it just would have tightened
around me, and then I didn't look at it, I'll be honest. I had someone, my dad was watching with me, and I just was like, let me know when it's gone. I can't watch this.
Yeah. That I wasn't sure, and I'm not huge with nature or animals either. Well, I like animals, but I'm not huge with knowing like what kind of snake that was. Is what I mean. So I'm sitting there thinking, is that a poisonous snake?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? That and the ants, I could not.
I was actually more afraid for her, and I would be more afraid of the ants than the snake, because usually, like with larger snakes, they aren't going to bite you until they've constricted around you. So if you don't move and you don't have any sudden jolts, then you should be okay as long as they're passing by.
She seemed to know that too. Because,
because that's the thing. Like they are poisonous, but they don't release their poison until they've constricted you, and that's to kind of basically make you. It's like I think they release it. I haven't thought about snakes in a long time, but they like bite you to kind of get it to make you really still, and then they swallow you.
Yeah.
Like Tiana's face right now.
Sorry, guys. Everything in my chest is tightening right now.
But like with ants, like you can get an infection from the punctures and the bites, and they can
I
get
was
inflamed.
concerned about that, especially later on when she, left them because she had been scratching.
Yeah.
And I honestly said this out loud. Oh, she had such pretty legs, and now they're ruined because I just thought, oh, that's gonna scab over real bad, and you're just gonna have these marks on your legs she's never gonna wear shorts again. Basically.
It depends on if you keloid, and historically, white people do not keloid, so she probably would have been fine.
She probably.
But I would have been like, no, my legs, it's over. So we finally get. She goes through, and I counted. It was on the morning of the 3rd day.
Okay.
Where she finally was just like, I'm done. And of course, that's when the plucky little dog comes running along. And I don't know, when I saw the dog come along, I heard the sound of like the sermon going. So I assumed like she was about to go be involved in like some crazy cult type of thing happening, or
I was definitely expecting more people.
Yeah.
When I heard the sermon happening, and then as it moved on, I realized that hey, they're just crazy.
Yeah.
He was probably talking to Coco.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured too. Once at first I was with you, I thought it was a congregation of people that she had reached the middle of a town or something like a town, and that they had seen her pass out, and that she reached them just in time. And I kind of thought her letting go like that was like, okay, it's fine. People are right there. They're gonna see me.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, I felt like I thought she just couldn't go any further. So she was kind of like, I'm going to pass out. And it just happened to be her great fortune. There was a lot of, oh, what great fortune happening this episode. To the point where I was like, really? Really? That's where they stopped to fix their boat?
Right.
That happens to be right where the tide took her?
Yeah.
Okay. They just the goat happens to get loose, and they happen to recognize it's a Chinaman, and it can only have been, we'll get there. But, like, I was like, come on. So, we're introduced to the character of Mamacita.
Mamacita. Yes. Mamacita was not here for any of that.
She was not here for anything.
It was amazing. The way she just shaded Claire the whole time was everything.
I thought they were going to do more of that, like, zipper thing, because she noticed.
Yeah, she did notice the zipper, so I was wondering when someone was gonna notice her zipper, because so far it was only Jamie.
So eventually she starts basically calling her a harlot, and I'm thinking maybe that's what the zipper... Maybe that's why she looked at the zipper, and that's kind of what made her think that for some reason.
No, zippers just didn't exist back then.
Yeah,
because even Jamie was like, "What is that?" Like that. Like she's about 100 years too early, I think, for the zipper.
Yeah,
because zippers came along with. I think I could be wrong. If I am, you can just say, Adrian, you're wrong. But
maybe you should research better before you come on this show and start saying facts, Adrian.
You know what, guys? You know what? I have a life. I have a day job. I have auditions. I have a cat. Okay.
You should have just led with cat.
I have a cat.
Just lead with cat.
All my whole time. No, jeans. I think zippers came along with the invention of jeans, so I could be wrong. But, so yeah, Mamacita, whose name I was kind of like. Really? Mamacita? Like, what's her real name? Like, is this a common term for just,
I was assuming that once I found out that he ran away with her daughter, that maybe it was just
a term of
endearment because it was her mom, so he was calling her Mamacita, because that's what her daughter probably called her.
Yeah. I've never heard Mamacita as anything other than like a come on term, like, hey, Mamacita. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Well, her name, I just Googled it just to verify. Her name actually is Mamacita. It's not a term of endearment.
It's just her name.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I'm looking at you, Diana. Gabaldon. Outlander. So she ends up saving Claire, and we get introduced to Father Fogden. Mm-hmm. Who is batshit crazy.
Yeah. He's eccentric.
Yeah.
AKA crazy.
Crazy's putting
He's been on an
nicely.
island for a very long time with just Mamacita.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his goats. And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So.
And Coco.
And Coco. I wanted more of the backstory of exactly who Coco is to him, besides best friend, confidant, but how did Coco come to exist? What is Coco's spirit? Was Coco around when
Armagilda?
When she was there? Was this a coping mechanism because of
has to be a coping mechanism.
Yeah,
has to be. Because I think about it. My mother always gets mad when I talk about this, but like my grandmother lived alone for like the last 30 years of her life, and when she was alone and she thought no one could hear her, she would start talking to herself in different voices. And like to the point where she'd go to sleep and like you could hear her talking in her sleep in different voices. Like, so yeah, the amount of humans are not supposed to be alone for long periods of time. Like, if we are, then we end up kind of creating things to kind of cope with the fact that, Mamacita mainly probably isn't going to be like a source of comfort for him in the way that he needs, So Yeah,
And
I think Coco came after.
We have a comment here. This Terry Drosselmeyer, he smoked some good stuff.
Yeah, that loofah?
Yeah, whatever that was.
Kept offering it to everyone else, and they just weren't going for it.
Well, Mr. Willoughby did.
Yeah.
To be kind.
He had no idea what he was in for.
Right? He's like, all right, start talking to coconuts now.
We have a couple of comments too. So, Zofia says maybe Mamacita is also from the future and recognized the zipper.
That would be
interesting. Cool. Yeah, and maybe that's why she has some kind of disdain for Claire, because I don't know. We would think that would make her like her more, but
yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a weird thing to see if you've never seen it before.
Was it this episode where someone said something about there's a place where people go and they disappear?
Yeah, I think
it was Fogden, right? He was telling Claire that there's
the cave.
The cave where people like disappear.
They did a cut back to another episode, which I did not remember of someone screaming at that.
Yeah, it was back when she went with, I forget her name, but the girl who was kind of crazy, and they were talking about taking her to the colonies, and they said, "A bond away," and it was the girl saying, "A bond away will devour you," and Claire didn't understand what she was saying, and I think it was her brother who was taking care of her and just said that she was crazy.
Oh, right.
Oh, yes. But that made me think, like, maybe there is another thing that's not the stones, but, something else that people another portal type of thing, which would make that theory a little valid, because maybe, I can't say her name,
Ermagilda?
Yeah, Ermagilda. Maybe she just disappeared because she was like, I don't want to be with this crazy man. Who knows?
Maybe. She's like, I gotta
Maybe you already talked to coconuts.
She's like, I made a mistake leaving my husband.
Stuck on this island with my mother and him for the rest of my life? No thanks. Caves, take me away.
Yeah. Well, I'll get there. So I'm trying to skip ahead, and I should not. Don't skip ahead. Okay, so, yeah, I think if they come back to it, it seems like they're kind of clipping along, and that they've already left the island at this point. So if they end up back on it, it might come up again. But they keep leaving little drops of things, and so I'm hoping they'll pick up on it before the season ends. If not, I'll be really annoyed waiting for them to finally come back to it a year and a half later, because it's been a long time, you guys. So we discover Father Falcon is kind of insane. But Mamacita has taken care of Claire. She did a really nice poultice on her legs to help with the ant bites, and Claire, after about a day, is like ready to get back on the road and find the port where she can go and potentially get on a boat to get to Jamie. And I forget, in the past, how long it took to travel. I was like, oh God, 3 days just to go to another island. So
to wait for that wind,
right? Yeah.
If the winds are good.
Waiting for 6 weeks on a boat just to move, that's insane. But we end up kind of discovering that I think Father Falcon is just super lonely and doesn't want Claire to leave, because he's making up all the excuses. It goes from you have to stay for a few days to a week to 2 weeks, and I mean a week to 2 weeks within the same sentence.
Yeah.
So we start to kind of realize that he's not completely on his rocker. And Claire, when she finally realizes this, uses Coco as a way
that was hilarious.
communicate with him that she wants to leave. And, I did appreciate that they didn't stretch out this part of the episode, where we weren't stuck with her kind of like battling with Fogden, or him like going crazy and attacking her or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I kind of just wasn't wanting to deal with that. I think Claire's been attacked enough.
Yes.
In this show.
By nature, by people,
by everything.
Yeah.
And she gets attacked by nature 3 times in this episode alone. So she finally is like about to convince him to let her go when Mamacita starts screaming about the goat. And she comes back. I was in the middle of my lunch, you guys.
Oh my God.
And she comes back with this goat head, or my breakfast, and I was like, oh man, why? Why right now? That's been devoured by a Chinaman. And I was like, oh my God, really? Seriously? Like, really? Really? They're there?
Can I tell you that it seemed too good to be true that I didn't think it was going to be him? I thought it was too obvious. I was like, nah, It's a different Chinaman. Like, it's not Willoughby. It can't be.
It can't be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was pretty sure it was him because historically, and this is me actually knowing a little bit historically, Chinese culture didn't really mingle with everyone back in the day.
That's what I was thinking too.
Like, this is like they didn't open their borders until the 1970s. So I wasn't surprised when I was like, if it's any Chinaman, it is him. Not to say that they never. Oh my God! Not to say they never interacted with other people back in the day. I'm just saying that historically, no, they were not about
There weren't a bunch of them running around Jamaica at the time, is what we're saying.
Is what I'm trying to say before people are like, oh my God, Adrian.
Next comment.
I'm like, I'm sorry, listen, I'm just trying to be honest. So Claire immediately runs for it. Did you guys have something?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, which actually surprised me because it made me think that Mamacita interrupting this moment was gonna make him be like, no, now you can't go for a month. And all Mamacita wants is for this woman to be gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Mamacita, you ruining your own game right now. Like, why are you coming in here screaming about the dead baby goat, which was sad because
really sad.
he was so cute.
Yeah.
Even with his head, and I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
They do baby goat yoga now, and it's cute. But all I could think too was you're ruining your own plan here. You had already set the woman's, talk about passive aggressive. She set the woman's clean clothes and mended clothes on the counter for her to wake up and be like, listen,
get out.
Time to go.
Time to go.
And she called her fat.
Oh,
Yeah.
she called her fat.
She was like,
she called her a whore. She knew enough English for the insults.
Yes.
And that was it.
Well, don't we all know like the curse
Yes.
words in other languages? We don't know the nice things.
I can happily curse you out in French. But ask me how to get to the grocery store. I'm like, I have no idea.
I don't know how to say right
Good
and
luck.
left.
No, yeah. What were you gonna say?
Actually, we do have a couple comments from the chat too. One is from Asia Adams saying zippers were invented in 1893.
100 years. Booyah!
But became popular in 1913. And then Terry Drosselmeyer says, in the 1800s, Chinese helped build the railroads in America.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And
Sorry, that was very loud.
the other two comments are about the book, so I won't say that. Eric Jackson says, Mamacita didn't use the F-bomb code word with Claire, though.
Yeah. No, okay. So what I was going to say about Mamacita is, I thought it was really odd that Claire, sorry, I didn't realize that. Yep. Anyways, Claire understood the Spanish when Mamacita was giving directions. Have we had it confirmed that she speaks Spanish?
No, but I
know
think
she
she was also pointing, and Claire, I
Just
felt
kinda went
like
with
she
that.
just kind of
Yeah.
went with follow her finger.
Because I thought she started running before she even looked at Mamacita, and I was kind of like, well, okay.
I'm like,
did we have this confirmed that she can speak Spanish?
I didn't pick up that she could. I thought it was just because she pointed.
Okay, cool. Because
Yeah.
I was kind of like,
because
okay.
I was reading the subtitles and I was like, oh, go straight, hang right. Like,
Yeah.
okay, wait, how's Claire gonna know when to turn?
Yeah.
I think Claire just heard he's here.
Right? She's like, I gotta go. I'm just gonna risk it, even though I got attacked by ants and snakes.
Because she also was able to find her way back there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they must not have been too far.
Then why did it take her 2 days?
Because I feel like she went the long way from where she was on the beach, because she went through and she went to the middle of the
She's
forest
probably
instead
like
of
this
cutting
part,
diagonally across.
and they're at this part,
Yeah.
and then the boat was
Yeah.
at this part.
Plus,
that makes sense.
she obviously doesn't know the terrain either. So when she was looking around, she probably zigzagged. And at one point, I thought maybe she went in a circle too. But when they told her, yeah, go this way.
Yeah, that's when you start looking at the sun. You start sticking your finger up in the air. No?
I mean, the first thing I said was I would never have gone directly towards the trees. I would have stayed on the outer part of the island and taken the long route to walk the whole around in a circle instead of cutting through. I just need to always see where, things are.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have definitely tried to get a fish. I would have been like sitting there trying to make a steak or something. But before we move on to the reunion, let's just talk a little bit about Vikings on History. History's critically acclaimed series Vikings will premiere with the 2-hour season premiere, airing Wednesday, November 29th at 9 p.m. So it already aired, you guys. No. Oh my gosh. I just jumped forward in time. I apologize. Season 5 begins with Ivar the Boneless asserting his leadership over the great heathen army, while Lagertha reigns as Queen of Kattegat. Ivar's murder of his brother Sigurd sets the stage for vicious battles to come as Ragnar's sons plot their next moves after avenging their father's death. Bjorn follows his destiny into the Mediterranean Sea, and Floki, who is suffering from the loss of his wife Helga, takes to the sea, submitting himself to the will of gods. The season is full of startling alliances and unbelievable betrayals as the Vikings fight to rule the world. So, that's history's hit drama series, Vikings. It's a family saga that tells the remarkable tales of lives and epic adventures of raiders and explorers of dark ages. Vikings premieres on November 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm really bad about saying that, only on history. And I'm really proud of myself for saying all those hard names. Congrats. So, all right, let's get back to the show. So, she runs into the woods, gets attacked by a tree.
Oh my god.
Like, really badly. Needs stitches. She gets... she got attacked by a tree, you guys. Like, Wizard of Oz.
She just could not catch a break this episode with what nature was doing to her. I mean, for her to go 2 seasons of living in the wild with all these, you know, in the middle of war and come out okay. And then this episode, everything just attacks her.
Everything.
It just all comes back for her in the end.
I mean, I don't think that's the first time I've ever seen her get stitches on the show.
Yeah.
Like, she's never been...
She's never the sick one or the injured one. She's never that person.
Only when she, with the first baby, like, was, like, the only time where she was like, I'm sick. But, like, and we discover, conveniently, that part of the ship has broken. The captain has died. Basically, anyone who had a conflict with Jamie has died.
Jamie came out pretty good on this one.
Yeah, and now Jamie is the captain of the ship. I'm like, this is really way too convenient. Like, he's the captain. Captain Rains is dead. Fergus feels guilty because he thinks that he cursed the captain. I'm like, don't feel guilty, man. It happens. It's the ocean. And then, by the grace of God, Claire put a piece of mirror in her dress, flashed it. Jamie saw it, got his looking glass, and was like, "It's Claire. Let's go back and get her." Oh my God! Like, come on.
And conveniently, they weren't going to leave until that night.
Exactly.
Yes.
It was so convenient.
So convenient because they wanted the win. Like, come on. Really? Come on. Like, that's just too much on the nose. Too much. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm really happy they were back. I was really freaking out that they weren't going to get back together in time. But at the same time, it was just really convenient.
Because I'm not sure, and maybe because Jamie, you know, lived in these ages and I live in the 21st century. That's what century we're in?
Yes, we're in the 21st. I know, sometimes I want to say 20th.
Yeah. I grew up in the 20th, now I'm in the 21st century, that I take for granted the fact that if that was flashing in my eye, I just would have put on a pair of sunglasses and not thought another second about it.
Me too.
I mean, it was such a little glimmer of light that was reflecting there that I probably would have taken a step to the side to just maybe the sun's reflecting off the
I would
water
have known
too much.
only because mirrors are not a common, like, things don't just reflect off the beach like that. Not really. And so I would have kind of been like,
when it was just on his eye and he didn't know where it was coming from yet, I wouldn't have thought a second about it. But that's why I'm not alive in the 1700s.
I'm thinking it might just be that, because I would be the same way. If someone was flashing that, I probably would just kind of shield my eyes and look away. I wouldn't think to have someone give me their spyglass so I could look on the shore.
Yeah. I think I would look only because even if the sun catches my purse handle, then versus me shielding my eyes, I immediately go to look for, like, what's causing that to happen.
Oh.
And then I'll knock it out of the way. So
you're smart and I'm lazy. That's pretty much what that comes down to. I'm just like, just leave me alone, put my sunglasses on, I'm fine now.
I used to read, like, worst case scenario survival handbooks when I was a kid, so obviously I'm just a weirdo. So, like, I've ever needed to know how to get out of quicksand. That was a fiction placed upon me from the 90s television shows. So they reunite, and Mr. Willoughby stitches up Claire, and then they're always just so chill with, like, what's happening with them. Like, She tells him, like, yeah, if we go to Jamaica, you're going to be arrested. Like, woman. Mm-hmm.
I kind of don't like, I get that they were at the end of the episode and they had to speed it up, but I don't like the fact that it's implied that she told him everything and that they are we're at the tail end of the conversation that we missed. I would have wanted to hear Claire telling this to Jamie about what's happened to her and what she's learned.
I think it's because they wanted to get to that turtle soup, which we're going to get to.
Which they almost called the episode.
I know. I guess that would have been a big giveaway for the book readers. So it ends up working out, because this was a very convenient episode, that because Jamie gave his blessing to Marsali and Fergus that they're going to get married on the island because they happen to have a reverend who can marry them through Father Fafnum. Or priest. No, reverend. I get it confused. Let's go with reverend. And so he
was a priest.
He's a priest?
I think so.
Yeah,
right, because he fell in love and
he wasn't
because
supposed
reverends
to,
can get married and priests can't. There we go. So I'm obviously not a person of religion, but so we end up cutting to the evening, and then before they set sail, deciding to get married on the island with Father Fogden doing the ceremony, and we get to this nice little moment between Marsali. I want to be like Marsali, like the Fogden.
She's not Italian.
Marsali, French, whatever. With Claire talking about how she's concerned about sex and how she doesn't want to get pregnant immediately. I was like, look at this modern day conversationing happened in the past, which means it's always been a concern, you guys. Okay.
So I loved this scene, but I also still didn't want to like her.
Yeah.
Oh, see?
Because everything she does, I just scream at my television, like, you are your mother's daughter!
Yeah.
And I call her names like Mamacita was calling Claire. So during this scene, I finally, my cold ice chest of a heart towards her started melting, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna like you now. And I thought it was the same for her, because her conversation with Claire turned into being like, oh man, I think I like you now.
She's like, I guess you're not the devil after all.
I mean, it was really sweet. It just, for me personally, I was a little disappointed in myself because I started liking her.
And I started liking her too, but I'm okay with that.
Larry is evil, and in my mind, her children are also evil. Oh, no. So I'm just that petty, guys. I can't get past who your mama is, so I can't love you yet.
I think I had a lot of empathy for Leary when this version of Leary, young version of Leary, no, not so much. Leary that doesn't like Claire, no, not so much. But the Leary that who's like been through some crap and is just doing her best by her children, I have empathy for that Leary. So I, inherently have empathy for Marsali, because she doesn't really know why her mom hates this woman. She doesn't know the full backstory. All she knows is one side, and Leary's side is the wrong side. So,
and I especially loved what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And I loved how, in a way, Claire was kind of being a motherly figure to her.
Exactly.
And saying, yeah, I'll help you, I'll tell you, which is what every young girl needs in their life. Someone who can kind of like help them with things like that. Yeah,
and I think that's it's nice to see that conversation, because I think on television especially we often get it where it's the boy having the sex talk, or but what's it like for a woman? Like, what is it when you don't want to have a baby immediately when you're married, and condoms don't really exist, and the ones that do don't really work that well
in their culture too. At this time, they're expected to have babies, so for her to even have the conversation with Claire was pretty risky.
I think, with Marsali, even when we jump to the wedding part, and she's like, I want to have sex with you. Like, this is taking too long. I was like, yes, I love seeing that, especially in, historical shows, because I think sometimes people think that a woman being sexual or wanting things and wanting to have sex without the whole point of, it being to become pregnant is something people think is a modern day woman's struggle, but it's a historical thing for women. Like, women like sex. I feel like I say this on every show I do. There's always a moment where I go, women like sex. Sometimes in a relationship, sometimes casually. They like sex. So this is that moment this season. But we jump to the hysterical wedding between Marsali and Fergus.
I mean, because heaven forbid you try to marry someone without a hand, because that means he doesn't have a cock either.
That was hilarious.
I was like, oh, look at that, like, differently abled bias happening. Yeah, I forgot that. Like, if
Are you sure you want to marry him? He has no hand.
And I love the correlation. You're missing a hand, so clearly your cock is not there either.
Exactly. Like, obviously you're not a man
like,
if you
no,
have
dude.
no hand.
I had 2 hands, so, you know, I can still jerk it off with my other one. Like, it's fine.
And I love how he turned to Marcel. He's like, do you still want this man? Yes, get to it. Like, marry us so I can, like, go bone this dude with his one hand.
I love how she was like, well, you know, you're not going to give me an opportunity to find out if you don't marry us.
Yeah. It's so great. And I think that was, like, the best use of the father, was, like, getting some comic relief out of it.
Yeah.
Because if not, then it's just like, oh, he's just really crazy, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But we get that really touching moment, and then I'm moving as fast as I can, you guys, with Jamie giving Fergus his name.
Oh. Okay, you want to talk about tears
Yeah.
coming? Because that was so special to me when he was like, it's just Fergus. Like, no, you're a Fraser. You're a Fraser. and then, you know, Jamie gives him his name, and especially the struggle that those two have been through so far this season with, you know, not getting his blessing, and Jamie kind of, you know, putting the ultimatum of like, if you really want my blessing, you'll free me. Like, all that BS they had to go through, and then to see Jamie and Claire both get to be there for this moment as the 2 people who brought him in, and I was just like, oh, see, Claire, this is why you had to come back.
Yeah.
You didn't talk about Fergus the whole time you were talking about Jamie and, you know, to your daughter or anything about your adoptive son. But it's cool, Claire. It's cool. I get it.
Know of.
That we know.
Because, you know, they like to have conversations when we're not there. And it's like, what's the point of having that conversation if we're not there to view it? But whatever.
Yeah.
Only talk when the cameras are rolling.
Only talk.
Rule number 1 of anything.
Yes. But so you get that nice touching moment, and then we cut to the ship, and apparently turtle soup is just a bunch of sherry and some turtle meat, because Claire was wasted. Am I skipping ahead?
No, I just want to mention that in the very beginning, did you guys pick up on the fact that they showed a turtle in the water at the very, like, first part of the episode?
I did not catch that.
I did, only because I was watching with my dad, and he was asking about the credits, and I was like, every episode there's little clues as to what goes into the episode, and it cut to the turtle. I was like that. I don't know what it's for.
Yeah. Probably a clue.
I mean, you figure they're not just going to randomly show a turtle unless it means something.
So that was, I don't know. How'd you guys feel about the turtle sex? let's just throw it out like that.
It was great, because at first I kept thinking, okay, she's high on fever. Is she about to die? Is she hallucinating?
Yeah.
What is wrong with this woman?
She was wasted. I guess that's like the
and then he says, you know, that there's a bunch of sherry in there. It's, oh, okay, she's just really drunk and horny. Yeah. I get it. She almost died on that island. She had nature attacking her. Yeah. If my husband looked like Jamie Fraser, yes, I would want to bone him every minute of the day.
Yeah, and they've been apart for a while at that point.
Yeah, so I get it. And it was hot. It was a little awkward because, as I mentioned, my dad was sitting next to me as I was watching this episode. So
I love it.
A little awkward, but it was still...
I can't watch Outlander with anyone. I'm like, I need to be alone. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Yeah. How did you feel about turtle sex?
I'm glad I wasn't watching with my dad.
So, you know, new Thanksgiving tradition in the Hobson house.
Let's just watch some sex scenes.
No, but it was interesting. At first I thought it was like, I figured something was in that soup.
Yeah.
More than just turtle.
Yeah.
And she probably knew that it was more than just turtle soup, because she probably would have tasted it.
Yeah. I think it was she was drunk. And then also, she probably was feverish because she knew she needed penicillin, and she sent Jamie to go get it.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, she was struggling a bit with that cut. But I just really liked how Jamie handled everything in the entire, like, that's just so nice and refreshing in current days to see a guy be like, I don't want to take advantage of you, and I don't want to hurt you, so I don't really want to stick this needle in you. Like, for her to be like, give it to me, Jamie. Quit playing and just do it.
He still stuck something in her.
Hey. But but for it to be like still fun, it wasn't like a knock you on the head about consent type of situation or anything like that. It was just like a very clear, like, they're obviously in a relationship, and he's also like being like hesitant. He doesn't want to hurt her in any way because her arm and everything, but they're still going to do it. Like, they're still going to do it, but I don't know. I guess whenever I see now somebody address, even in the kindest of ways, like the level of consent that should happen, even in married couples, it's nice to see.
And that's what it was.
And that's an awesome point. I love how they show that because it should be that way, whether you're with someone or not.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's really, I just love the message.
And given the state of Hollywood, we know this episode was shot before all of this stuff started happening.
Yeah.
So it's the fact that they even involved it in, I mean, it could have been something that was also in the book, you know, beforehand and stuff. So, you know, have a woman writing this, of course she's going to make sure that's in there. But it was just so great to see, especially given the state of Hollywood right now and what's going on. The fact that, yes, they are married, and just because they're married doesn't mean Jamie automatically gets to sleep with her whenever and whatever state that she's in. Yeah. And the fact that he respected that just makes me a firm believer that he is not supposed to be in the 1700s.
I don't think he's supposed to exist at all. No. I don't believe he's just too perfect. Except for when he tried to spank her that one time. But whatever. You know, he's grown as a man. Ooh. It's amazing. It's amazing to see that growth on television. Anyways. I think, and then, like, we just had that nice little touch. It was just such a nice, lighthearted episode of, like, Mr. Willoughby coming and being like, does she want more soup? And, like, realizing that they're obviously doing it. And the soup
like,
was
oh,
productive.
no, I need more. Right? Like, yeah, you do, girl. You get your junk sex talk on.
Yeah. She's like, give me that soup while I'm getting done from behind.
Mr. Willoughby's just, like, smiling as he walks away.
He's just like,
yeah, I did that.
Yep. It's like, it did its job. She needed that. He needed that. Sherry in the soup. All right, well, let's get into predictions in these last few seconds.
And go.
Do you want to start?
Sure, I can start. So, I still think they're going to go to Jamaica anyway.
Yeah, because they got to get
Ian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that when they get to Jamaica, Jamie's going to have his own problems, and, well, kind of based on the preview, too, seems like they might catch him, and, yeah.
My mind keeps, and this has nothing to do with what's happening next week, my mind just keeps going back to when Claire was, you know, working
the bones
that were found in the cave, and then we learned about a cave today where people disappear and stuff. So my mind just keeps trying to connect what is happening there and praying that it's not Claire's bones that they are putting back together. Although that's exactly where my mind went when that first happened. So,
I was thinking about that too. I was going to bring that up earlier, actually. I think that I don't think it's going to be Claire's bones. And if you know from the books, don't say anything. But I think it might be Marcelly's bones. Because there was a type of recognition that Claire had. And maybe she had an understanding that it is somehow related to Fergus. Maybe she was keeping tabs on Fergus and we weren't aware of it. Or I don't know. But she did have a recognition with the bones, so that I'm sure they're going to get to that. And then also what they're going to do about Ian, because it seems like Ian might also be about to die.
Trouble.
Yeah.
So,
I'm curious to see them get to Jamaica. I also kind of want them to get out of Jamaica because I'm kind of, I don't know. It seems like troubling. It seems like maybe they should get to the Americas or something, which I don't know if I want to see that either. But let's do that instead.
Let's survive this.
Let's survive it and not separate them through anyone going through caves and then me having to sit here for season 4 with 6 episodes with them separated. I just can't handle it. Okay. So I think that about wraps up this episode of Outlander After Show on AfterBuzz TV. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And where can they find you both?
You can find me at the Tiona Hobson on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can find me at Rachel Goodman on either Instagram or Twitter, or at Rachel and Goodman on Facebook.
All right, guys, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow. As always, we like 5 stars. We like comments on YouTube. 5 stars on iTunes is what I'm trying to say. So feel free to reach out and be positive and happy, because that's what we need in life right now, right? Holidays. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in. Stay sexy, and we'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.